This is an ordinary house. Clean kitchen, quiet street, nothing wrong with it, except the water. It runs brown now. And the sky out the window has a haze in it that wasn't there a year ago. And the electric bill, higher. Again, this family isn't unlucky, and they're not alone. 2 summers in a row, 65 million Americans in the country's single biggest power grid opened a bill that had jumped, and nobody told them why. The water, the air, the bill, they all turned for the same reason. And it isn't a factory. It isn't a power plant. It's something you probably used this morning. This is the story of who's really paying for artificial intelligence, and whether anyone ever agreed to it. So what is it? The search you ran this morning, the chatbot, the photo you tidied up, none of it happened on your phone. It happened in a building. A windowless box the size of a warehouse, humming 24 hours a day. And the newest ones, the ones built for AI, are hungry in a way nothing before them ever was. One site can pull as much power as a city. One honest thing, before this becomes evil tech company versus innocent town, you use these buildings. About half of American adults now use AI chatbots, and nearly everyone with a phone runs their whole life through a data center. Hold on to that. We'll come back to it. But here's what makes this a mystery. For all that hunger, data centers are still only about 6% of America's electricity, roughly the same as air conditioning. 6%. So how does 6% send 65 million power bills through the roof and turn a family's tap water brown? That isn't obvious. That's the whole story. The answer starts somewhere almost no one has heard of. Before electricity ever reaches your house, there's an auction, a market that pays power plants to promise they'll show up on the worst day of the year. It's supposed to be dull. And in 3 years, the price it sets went from $29 to $333, more than 11 times over. 10 years ago, data centers were a rounding error on the grid. Then AI arrived, and the biggest new campuses each need a full gigawatt of power. Some are planned at 2. Together, they're on track to be about half of all the new electricity demand in America this decade. Not half the power, half the growth, arriving in a few short years in a few concentrated places. And here's how 6% breaks the price. The auction doesn't pay the average. It pays the last megawatt, the single most expensive one needed to keep the lights on. And AI demand showed up all at once, bidding for exactly that megawatt. It didn't have to be most of the grid. It just had to set the price for all of it. A market doesn't break on the average, it breaks on the surge. Air conditioning crept up over decades. AI landed in 18 months. Normally, the fix is simple: build more power plants. But the one machine you'd need, a large gas turbine, is sold out until the next decade, so the price stays high. And the surge keeps coming. AI didn't just raise the demand for power, it broke the market that decides what power costs. And that broken market has your name on it. Columbus, Ohio, $27 more a month. Just outside Washington, 21. Multiply that across 65 million people, and you start to see how an auction nobody's heard of became one of the most expensive things on your bill. But the bill is the cost we all share. The next one isn't shared at all. It lands entirely on whoever lives next door. In one county in Georgia, families on well water watched their taps run brown the year a data center opened beside them. Undrinkable. Staining the sinks, ruining the appliances. They started hauling drinking water in by the jug. Their water rates climbed by a third. And when a member of Congress held up 2 jars of that water at a hearing, the whole country finally saw it. Then there's the sound. These buildings never sleep, and neither, sometimes, do the people beside them. In Virginia, nearly a third of them sit within 200 feet of someone's home. Residents measure the hum in their own living rooms at 60, 70, 90 decibels. Headaches, no sleep, ringing ears. Just outside Memphis, residents are trying to bring a single lawsuit on behalf of 10,000 people over the noise from one site and the air. To stay online through anything, these sites keep rows of giant diesel generators on standby. One campus in Mississippi was permitted for more than 300 of them. When the grid is strained, they run. The health case here is thinner than the water. I won't oversell it. But the fumes are real, and so is the coal and gas kept burning somewhere else to feed the demand. The bill we all share. This, the water, the noise, the air, falls on whoever happens to live next to the building. And that isn't bad luck. Somebody decided who pays. Remember what I asked you to hold on to, that you use these buildings too? Here's why it matters. The family whose water ran brown didn't prompt the chatbot. The household paying $27 more never chose any of this. We share the benefits, and a few towns and one overloaded grid swallow the costs. That isn't an accident. That's a decision. And the question is, who made it? You never bid in that auction. Your utility did, and it passes the cost straight through to you. The market's own monitor put a number on it. Of the last auction's record cost, 63% traced back to data centers, $9.3 billion in a single auction. To be fair, that's the majority of the increase, not your whole bill. Fuel, weather, aging wires all play a part, but no single force pushed harder than the one nobody voted for. And while ordinary families finance the fix, the companies that caused the crunch are quietly locking in a way out. Microsoft, Amazon, Meta signing private deals for their own power. More than 10 gigawatts of it. One of them is restarting 3 Mile Island, the most infamous nuclear plant in America, just to feed its AI. That deal locks in their power price for 20 years. Yours resets every time demand climbs. You get the higher bill. They get a private exit. So why doesn't someone just stop it? That fight is happening right now, and it's going both ways. In Congress, lawmakers have introduced bills to freeze new AI data center construction until there are real protections for the people living next to them. Meanwhile, the federal government is pushing the other way, ordering regulators to speed these projects up to get them online faster. Towns are showing up to county meetings to block them. Some win, most don't. The machine is being built faster than anyone can decide whether it should be. Scandal? Or just how markets work? People who never got a vote are paying for a machine they were never asked about. You can decide what to call that, but you should at least get to see it. This past June, a heat dome settled over the East Coast and the grid climbed to within a breath of its all-time record. And for the first time, the government gave itself the power to pull the plug. Not on your house, on the data centers. The rule was blunt. If it came down to it, the machines would step aside, so the people could keep their lights. It held. This time, 13 of the country's 23 grid regions are now flagged for elevated risk, and the demand keeps arriving, one windowless building at a time. Every summer, the same question gets a little sharper. When the machines and the people both need that last megawatt, who gets it? The water, the noise, the bill. A grid on the edge. They all arrived with the same machine, and almost nobody got a say. That's what we do here. We take the systems everyone depends on, and no one can see, and we pull them apart so you can understand the world under load.